Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Captain's Table. I am your host, Captain B-Nard, and topic of discussion today is going to be the Battle Hub Draft League Season 7, a complete review and reaction to the entire season here for the Philadelphia Pidgeys. Or is it?
What's up, guys? It's your boy. Say hello. Yo, we back to another mixtape.
Oh yeah.
It's your boy Joey. We live alone. I will throw my enemies a bone. I will call my friend a crone. Joey won't be dethroned.
Never.
So pass me those stones while eating my cone. We can't postpone the cyclone. You step in my zone, you going to get blown. Bars.
Alright, sorry. Had to. Yeah, so, bringing some levity to the Captain's Table here today. Um, Laughs just because. So, shout out to my boy Joey Fontaine. So, anyway, no, in fact, we are going to be just going over Season 7 here in the Battle Hub Draft League for the Philadelphia Pidgeys. Sorry, there is no mixtape collab with myself and Joey just yet. But anyway, I'm going to do this the same way that I normally do, where I am going to talk about the facts and figures, just kind of give you guys a recap as to how the season unfolded for the Philadelphia Pidgeys. So, without further ado, we are going to jump right into that. So, as you guys can tell by the beautiful low quality thumbnail, we did not, unfortunately, make it to the playoffs this season once again. Um, we ended the season with a 5-4 record, though, which was pretty good actually. That was only good enough to land us in 10th place, though, due to differentials and tiebreakers. And of course, since you need to be in top 8 to make it to the playoffs, we did not, in fact, make it to the playoffs once again. So, pretty disappointing in that. Kind of a strange situation for us this season because I believe this is actually the first season. I think I want to say 11 draft leagues in. And I believe this is actually the first time that I've ever had a positive winning record, but not made it to playoffs. So it's a kind of a strange feeling, strange situation. But in case you guys didn't know that, which you probably all do, our season is over at this point. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start jumping into actually the next graphic I have for you guys, which is going to be the final standings of the regular season here in the BHDL7. So, as you can see there, pretty crazy season that we had, not just for the Pidgeys, but for a lot of teams. So you can see sitting atop the pile with a commanding 8-1 record, plus 22 differential. We have our pal Al, the Albomination, and his ABCDEFG Miltanks. Yeah, so he definitely pulled away from the group, had a hell of a run this season. So big congratulations to him for finishing the regular season in first place. So after that, we had a pretty interesting situation unfold where we actually have 6 coaches with a 6-3 record, varying differentials associated as well. Yeah, that was a pretty big game changer as far as the playoff scene is concerned because normally you would not have so many coaches with that same record. Normally there would be a little more room for perhaps another 5-3, or I'm sorry, 5-4 record to get in to the playoffs. But because there were so many 6-3 records this season, unfortunately, there was only room for one 5-4. As you can see, there were 3 coaches, one of which was myself, with a 5-4 record this season. But unfortunately, our differentials were not good enough to get us in, and so that spot went to the former 2-time champion Raymond here. In season 7. So, yeah, and then of course you could see it just kind of filters down from there. We had bunch of coaches with that 2-7 record toward the bottom. This season was really a tale of consolidating records. So as you can see, there were a lot of coaches with that 6-3 record, and of course a bunch of coaches with the 5-4 record, a bunch of coaches with the 2-7 record. So um, those were kind of like where most coaches landed. They either did well or not so well, as you can see. So yeah, so there is kind of the breakdown. That is why the Philadelphia Pidgeys missed the playoffs for the second straight time here in the Battle Hub Draft League this season. So I would like to say a big congratulations, though, to the 8 coaches that did make it into the playoffs. It was hard fought and earned. And so, yeah, I do wish them all the best of luck in the playoffs. I would also like to give a big shout out to, speaking of broadcast production, the coaches who were part of my captain's recap this season as well, the 4 individuals. And so, yeah, that was pretty cool to bring those back and do those once again. So, yeah, having said all of that, we are going to go ahead and talk about the Philadelphia Pidgeys a little more because that's my team and that's what I want to talk about. So, um, here we are going to take a look at our team statistics for Season 7 here for the Philadelphia Pidgeys. So, um, as you guys may recall, there were really 2 different versions of the Philadelphia Pidgeys this season. As I mentioned, we ended with a 5-4 record, +1 differential. So we were pretty much splitting right down the middle the entire season. Um, the Pidgeys kind of had difficulty gaining traction this season. We never won more than I think 2 games in a row, I want to say. But as far as the team breakdown is concerned, you could see the original rendition of the team had the 3 Pokemon at the bottom there that I penciled in, and their statistics on games played and their KDR as well. But the original version of the team in weeks 1 through 5, of course, did not have Iron Leaves, Pincurchin, and Pheasantipity. Those were Pokemon that I transacted for post week 5. And then the second version of the team, of course, ran weeks 6 through 9. And so, yeah, that was without the Talonflame, Indeedee, and the Muck, because that was the one trade that I made this season. So, as you can see, we really only played. This is something that I failed to mention, I guess, because we did have 1 week that the game was not played. That was week 1, of course, because for some reason the Philadelphia Pidgeys can never seem to actually play their week 1 game for one reason or another. So really, we had a total of 8 actual games played this season, and so based on the usage of Pokemon, you can see it was really the Rotom Wash and, of course, our beloved mascot, Gudra, making its return to the Pidgeys this season that, in fact, came to the most games this season. So both of those Pokemon came to 7 games this season. Then, of course, we had the Spectrier, the Ting-Lu, and the Scizor, which all came to 6 games each. So those top 5 Pokemon that I drafted were really the core of the team this season. Those were kind of the heart and soul of the Philadelphia Pidgeys this season. And as you can see, as far as the rest of the Pokemon are concerned, we brought our Alolan Ninetales and our Hitmonlee to 4 out of 8 games, so both showed up to about exactly, I should say, half of the games that we played this season. Both tried and true Philadelphia Pidgeys from teams past as well. And then, of course, we had the Iron Leaves and the Talonflame, who were both Terra Captains. While on the squad, coming to 2 games each. And then we've had our Pincurchin, Pheasantipity, Indeedee male, and the standard Muck coming to 1 game each. So I'll kind of get into how I felt the team performed and the Pokemon performed as we get into the next slide here. But one of the big reoccurring thoughts that I do have about the BHDL7 Philadelphia Pidgeys is just we did really, as I said, just struggle to gain any sort of momentum or traction long term this season. So it was kind of the case where we would like win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So it was a very mixed season. We had a lot of close games, though. I will say most of our games were decided by either a 2-0 or a 1-0 differential. So a lot of close games this season. And I do feel like while we didn't do badly. I still feel like we definitely could have done better. And I'll get into a little bit of why I think that coming up here. But um, having said that, we are going to first take a look at the Pokemon Awards here. So, Pokemon Awards, of course, I give out to all of our Pokemon here that we use throughout the season. So, seasonal MVP this season, I am going to actually have to give that, which may come as a surprise to some of you, to our Hitmonlee. So, the reason I do this is if you think back to the last slide, Hitmonlee was actually our only Pokemon with a sizable positive KDR this season. I think it had +5, despite that it only came to 4 games. And so Hitmonlee honestly put in a lot of work. It is sort of like a lower tier terrain sweeper, unburdened sweeper, that kind of thing. And it's a Pokemon I know very well. I've been drafting it quite a lot, throughout the years here. It has been a while since I brought it on a draft league team, but um, I do believe that we've drafted Hitmonlee like 4 or 5 times throughout the years, so it's come to a lot of draft leagues with us. I'm very familiar with the Pokemon. I like it a lot. I like using it a lot, and so I do think this was a case where comfortability and familiarity kind of played a big factor. So I was able to use the Hitmonlee pretty successfully. Honestly, there were some games that it could have even been more successful had I been willing to take a few more risks with it and played a little bit smarter. It could have been even better, but I do think that has to be our seasonal MVP here in the BHDL7. Now, on to the next positive player award is going to be the Pokemon that impressed me um, the most, I would say, aside from the MVP, and I would have to give that one to Rotom Wash this season, actually. So, another choice that might surprise a lot of you. So, Rotom Wash is a Pokemon, once again, that I've drafted quite a bit here in YouTube draft leagues, and it's a Pokemon that I'm very familiar with. It's a very solid, tried and true Pokemon, very useful, very versatile. And this season specifically, I'm not sure what it was, but this season specifically, it ended up really popping off. I think Rotom may have had. It was one of my top Pokemon as far as like raw kills this season, just because it was played, I think, pretty well, and it had some really solid matchups into a lot of teams this season as well. So Rotom Wash definitely was impressed me this season beyond what I was expecting. That's for sure. So, but on the flip side, we do have our two negative player awards as well here, and so the first one of those is going to be Pokemon that disappointed me, and unfortunately, I have to hand that one to Ting Lu. So, Ting Lu was our second round draft pick. It was really drafted to be a major cornerstone of the team as far as being a bulky tank and setting up hazards and hitting decently hard on the physical side as well. Um, and unfortunately, it kind of just did not pan out quite as well as I would have liked. So, um, while I do think Ting Lu is a really solid Pokemon overall, I'm not sure if it was just a case of that I was maybe not using it correctly or if it just had some bad matchups. But it really did not perform to the level that I was expecting it to because it is a premier high point value Pokemon, and like I said, second round draft pick for us. So I really was expecting more out of it than what I got. So definitely kind of disappointed in that. It didn't do like it wasn't completely useless, that's for sure, but it definitely did not perform to my expectations. Let's say that. So. And then finally, we are going to have our LVP, Least Valuable Player Award. And that one, I actually did kind of think about this quite a bit because a lot of the Pokemon that I had this season had very similar performances. So there were a lot of Pokemon that had kind of like a breaking even KDR. So there wasn't a lot like of standout Pokemon here for the Pidgeys in season 7, but there weren't a lot of like really underperforming Pokemon either. But after thinking about it, I did decide that the LVP this season was going to be Talonflame, and so the reason I say that is because Talonflame was drafted about halfway through for me as our one of our Terra captains. So as you guys know, we kind of had like we decided to try a three Terra captain model this season in Draft League, where we had Hitmonlee, Gudra, and Talonflame were our original Terra captains, and then we ended up trading away Talonflame for Iron Leaves as our Terra captain about halfway through the season. And so, unfortunately, the reason we did that is because Talonflame was just not pulling the weight. Um, there were some moments where it almost shined, but unfortunately the problem with it is every week when I was prepping for my opponent, it was kind of a case where like, okay, well, I want to bring either Talonflame or Hitmonlee as kind of like my fast physical attacking Pokemon. And the unfortunate reality of Talonflame as a Pokemon is, aside from its speed stat, all of its other stats are just so below average. They're so not good. Like none of its other stats, its HP, its offenses, its defenses, like none of its other stats, even with full investment, are really that useful and that good, especially into higher tier draft boards. So yeah, I think I really needed a Pokemon in that role, in that fast physical attacking role that could be a lot more reliable, where if like I didn't want to go with like an unburdened strategy with Hitmonlee, or if Hitmonlee just maybe had a bad matchup into the team, that I could have something that could, to fall back on rather than Hitmonlee if I needed something maybe like a little bulkier or more defensive, as my fast physical attacking Pokemon, that I could bring that. And unfortunately, Talonflame, like I said, due to its poor base stats, just did not fill that role the way that I needed it to. So for that reason, definitely, I think it has to be our LVP this season. So moving on from that, we are going to come to our game awards. And so you guys know how this works. The past couple of times I've done this, we're going to do the best game of the season and the worst game of the season for us. So best game of the season for us was actually kind of a difficult one for me to make a decision on. And so the reason I say that is because um, there are two ways that we can look at this. So we can look at it in the sense of like how successful I was in any one given game, and we can also look at it as how well I played. And so when I took both of those things into consideration, the determination that I made was that my best game this season was Week 7 versus Cody. So reason I say that is because while this was our most dominant victory this season, I believe we got a 4-0 victory in this game. So it was our most dominant victory of the season. I also feel like this was the game that I was the most on point the entire season. So a lot of the other games, even some of the ones that I won, I would say I played questionably in certain turns, and perhaps some of the prep choices that I made were not the best as well. But in this game specifically, I just feel like I had everything going right. I was dialed in. I had solid prep. I made great decisions, and the game played out just as I wanted it to. And so I do think that this was probably my best played game, definitely one of my best played games this season, and the results speak for themselves. So, yeah, but moving on to the flip side of the coin, our worst game of the season, and for at least I think the second time in a row, we are going to have to award that to Brandon. So this is our Week 8 match versus Brandon. So, the reason this was our worst game of the season was not just because it was our biggest defeat this season. I think we lost this one 5-0, which was by far our worst defeat this season. Um, Beyond that, it was just the my prep for this game was not good. I didn't really feel confident about um, a lot of what I brought to this game, and not only that, but worse than the prep was like infinitely worse than the prep, and I can't stress that enough. Was the way I played this game. Like I'm not sure what was going on with me this game, but this was one of those games, and I said it before in the recap, but um, this is just one of those games where literally everything went wrong in this game. The prep choices didn't work out too well. The judgment calls that I had to make, and the reads and everything just went so terribly wrong. The hacks were bad at the end of the game as well against me. Um, so yeah, this was easily the worst game of the season. There's really no no competition for it actually. Um, so, and I don't know what it is, but this seems to be a recurring theme when I play Brandon. I want to say is that for some reason I'm not sure why. It's like the opposite of the Cody game. We're just like not at all dialed in. We're not focused. We're not like making the right calls. It's just it just everything just goes wrong. So, um, but yeah, those are the game awards in a nutshell. So that is of course going to bring us to the closing remarks for this video. So, um, general thoughts about this season here. I will say, I will say that I had fun this season. I do think definitely more so than last season. I think that I was able to devote more of my time to strategizing and preparing on most weeks in this season than I was in the previous season of the BHDL. And so I think that speaks in the results as well that we did do significantly better this season than we did last season, although still not good enough to get back to playoffs. Um, but yeah, I definitely did enjoy my time more. I do think the team was better constructed this season, although I do think that we could have done a little bit better with the draft, especially with the original version of the team. I think after I made the transactions, the team was better for sure. But we did lose a lot of steam and a lot of momentum dropping. I think 3 of our 4 losses came in those first 5 weeks. So we lost a lot with that original team, and I probably should have tried to make some transactions earlier to try and iron out some of the kinks in the team. But this is kind of one of the things I know I mentioned before that the Pidgeys never seem to like play their week 1 game, and I've noticed this before, but I'll say it again. I actually think that that is to our disadvantage because it doesn't let me troubleshoot any issues with the team and think about transactions as early as I otherwise would have. So getting those non-games in the first week ends up kind of being like a net negative for the team, I think, and for me, not being able to kind of work the bugs of the team out quicker. So that's definitely something I've noticed before and something I continue to notice here. Um, Beyond that, I'm not going to say that I regret the trajectory that I took with the team because I do think that the team that I had, especially after the transactions, was definitely a playoff worthy team, in my opinion. I think that building around Spectrier, while it is a challenge in a way because Spectrier is kind of a one-dimensional Pokemon, and it is very easy to game plan for if you know it's coming. At the same time, it kind of makes my life a little bit easier too because I know exactly what they're going to do, so I can thus like counter game plan what I know they're going to do to stop Spectrier. So what I mean by that is, so obviously with Spectrier being a premier ghost type and one of the best glass cannon fast special attacking Pokemon in the game, Uber for a reason, obviously. It is obviously pretty easy to counter Spectrier. You just need a solid normal type on your team and or dark type, and you can really you know game plan against Spectrier pretty easily if you have the materials to do it. But on the flip side of that, that also kind of makes my life a little bit easier because I know, okay, if they've got a normal type, I know it's going to come to the game. If they've got a dark type, I know it's going to come to the game. So that lets me kind of prepare And I think that may have been why Hitmonlee ended up being such a successful Pokemon for me this season. That ends up letting me prepare counters to those counters, which in both of those cases is a strong fighting type, which in both of those cases, all of those cases rather, was Hitmonlee. So that's kind of, I think, why things unfolded the way that it did. So, but more to the team generally speaking, I don't, like I said, I don't regret building the team around Spectrier. Um, I think that Spectrier is a Pokemon I like quite a lot from a design standpoint, but also obviously is a very threatening Pokemon to build around, despite its one-dimensional nature. But I do think the rest of the team, like the classic B-Nard core, like the Scizor machine, Scizor Rotom Wash, the mascot Gudra, or the de facto team captain Gudra. Um, all of that stuff was all well and good. No complaints about that. Could I have drafted a team that was better? Sure. Have I drafted teams that were on paper more solid than this one in the past? Definitely, I will say. There were at least a few seasons that I think I put together like a more uh, balanced and imposing team on paper than this one. But I did really like this team and I liked using it. I think the real fault of this season and of the Pidgeys not making it to playoffs this season ultimately is just me, honestly. Um, I think there were a couple of games specifically that I could point to that I would say directly cost us getting into playoffs this season, and I do think those games were probably the Twisted game, which I think was week 5 when we played Twisted games, and then week 8 when we played Brandon. I think those were really like the breaking points for the team. Both games that I played pretty terribly, if I'm being honest, and games that I definitely feel like I either could have won or could have not lost by as much as I did. And I think that uh, either one of those games playing out differently than it did could have got us into playoffs. Um, so ultimately, I think that the reason we didn't make it into playoffs is I had a couple of off weeks, a couple of off games, and even some of the games that I won, like our week 9 game, we could have won that if we would have just played our cards right and been a little bolder. We could have won that game by an even wider margin than we did, and so I think. Stuff like that was really the reason why the Pidgeys didn't make it into playoffs, despite having a winning record, despite doing relatively well. Unfortunately, this was just one of those seasons in Draft League that uh, doing like slightly above average was not going to cut it to get you into playoffs because, like I said, like I showed you guys, there were just so many teams with that 6-3 record and so many teams that were just pushing and doing a little bit better than we were that we were just kind of edged out in the end. And like I said, it's a strange feeling for me because I don't believe the Pidgeys have ever had a winning record and not made playoffs. So, like I said, it is definitely a strange feeling because it's like I don't feel like we did that badly because we had a winning record. I feel like we actually did, all right because we had a winning record, but we didn't make playoffs, so we didn't do that good at the same time. So, um, but yeah, still an interesting season, an exciting season, a fun season. I did enjoy coming back once again as a commissioner to try and make the season of the league the best it could possibly be. I think this one was definitely a really solid one. We had a lot of really great players this season, and I think that shows honestly in the breakdown at the final standings for the regular season. Um, and so I enjoyed bringing back the captain's recap in every other week capacity. I did like doing that. I think that was a little more manageable for me because time is still not something that I have the world of free time to myself. So um, doing it in an every other week capacity was really a lot more manageable for me, and I enjoyed doing that. I still enjoy having the conversations with the guests and going over like the numbers and the game results and that kind of thing. So um, but yeah, it's it was a good season, but unfortunately, just not quite a good enough season for the Philadelphia Pidgeys. So those are kind of my thoughts. And unfortunately, um, this, as I had kind of alluded to with the thumbnail, and as you guys probably know at this point, I believe this is going to end up being the last BHDL season on Scarlet and Violet. Certainly will be the last BHDL season on Scarlet and Violet that the Pidgeys join. Because just I think yesterday it was we got our announcements regarding Pokemon Champions and Generation 10, Gen 10 Pokemon Winds and Waves. So a lot of exciting news coming out. I might make a separate video about all that stuff at some point in the future. So yeah, that is the future. Yeah, so um, I guess that begs one final question here, and that is, of course, what is next for the Philadelphia Pidgeys? Well, because I just kind of let the cat out of the bag with that. Timeline wise, we are looking at about, I want to say, somewhere between 1 to 2 months away from the release of Pokemon Champions, which, in case you guys didn't know, is going to be a console and phone game, I guess, apparently, where it's going to be centered pretty exclusively around competitive battling. So I there's really not much information still on this, but we do have an April 2026 release date for it now. So I'm assuming, and I don't know this, but I kind of get the feeling from this that it's going to be kind of like it's going to be kind of like what's it called? Now I'm blanking on the name, but um, it's kind of going to be like that website-based battling Showdown. That's what it is. Yeah, it's going to be kind of like Pokemon Showdown, I think, but I don't really know that for a fact. So I will be honest with you guys. I'm kind of lukewarm on that. Like, I'm not like super psyched up and ready for Pokemon Champions. Like, I think I am ready for a meta refresh because we've been in the Scarlet and Violet meta for so long that I think getting a meta refresh will be a good thing. Um, but I'm not like super stoked about Champions. I think it'll probably be fine because like I'm not really like a big Pokemon Showdown guy. Like I don't play Showdown. I don't haven't really ever. Um, so I'm not like, if it's gonna be kind of like Pokemon Showdown, then I don't know how interested I'll be. I will definitely play it, that's for sure, because as a competitive battler, I definitely want to see what it has to offer. I know I kind of skipped Legends ZA just because of the lack of the competitive scene. Um, but I definitely will be getting Pokemon Champions when that comes out. And then long term, what I'm really looking forward to is that Generation 10 Pokemon Winds and Waves. Although I will say I'm not super excited about the starter reveal that we got um, not too long ago. So, but yeah, that's a topic for another day. So, but until that point, we do have a little bit of wrapping up to do here, I think, on Scarlet and Violet for sure. Perhaps I may even go back and revisit Pokemon BDSP one last time. That's an idea I've been toying around with as well. So those are a couple of things that I'm kind of thinking about doing before Pokemon Champions comes out, and then jumping in and giving Pokemon Champions a shot when that does come out. So, yeah, the content may slow down a little bit. I want to say over the next month or so here on the channel, I am still going to be putting videos out. I do still want to get some more battles here on Scarlet and Violet. And perhaps more, like I said. So, but yeah, things will, I think, slow down a little bit. Um, but the content will not stop, and I think it will only pick back up in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. So I will say then thanks for watching again, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and/or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.